Hi everyone, I'm Ben Davies, and we are here today with Liam Parker from Quest End to talk about Savant and much about the Savant Roadshow that's coming up this year. Liam, welcome, mate.
Hi Ben, how you doing?
Right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. First of all, I think it's important for everyone to understand a little bit about Quest End, so when it started, where you're at now, and I suppose give me a tiny bit about the kind of projects that you do day to day.
So yeah, we started I think 2016-ish as a property development business actually, and we're looking at smart home systems to implement into those, and quite quickly decided that we wanted to get into the lighting control for smart home and cinema system industry. When I say we, it was me on my own. So I went out to Cedia to go and see what it's all about, have a look at all the different systems, and see where we wanted to go, who we wanted to start with, partner with. And it's been a long journey, learned a lot of things over that time. And one of those brands was Savant, hence I'm here chatting to you.
So just give me kind of an idea, roughly, like what kind of projects do you get involved in these days? Is it solely residential? Are we talking about full smart home systems, or do you stick to kind of hi-fi and cinema, or is it the full whack that you tend to do?
So it's a full range. So we'll quite happily do systems where it's just a network, just a high-end residential solid network performance upgrade. That could lead into other things. We do full home automation projects, including the garden with robotic mowers and the house with lighting, heating, security, everything that most people do with the AV. So we're happy. It doesn't matter the size of the project, whether it's a few £1,000s through to a couple of £100,000. We'll take it on.
And what's interesting about you, Liam, we've known each other for quite a while now, is that you have tried quite a lot of these platforms personally before you've landed on Savant, and you do have others that run alongside of us. Savant's kind of a key element within the business. What's one of the reasons that you did land on Savant?
Um, it's when we saw it at. I didn't really know much about Savant. It's not all that well known um, in the UK, certainly amongst consumers, and it's less known about the other control systems. I'd say in the industry sometimes as well. But it's much bigger in the US, and so we went over when I went to Cedia, went around all the stands, and initially we still are a Crestron dealer, but also the Savant side of things. And it's just the ease, the UI, the simplicity, the Apple-esque approach that Savant brings to it. Along with, certainly when we started, it was a pure control system. They had no lighting control. They had their own music servers, but they integrated with best of breed partners. And so we like to put systems in where you've got isolated systems. You have your heating system, which is dedicated for your heating. If your lighting goes down, it's not affecting your heating. If your heating goes down, it's not affecting your lighting. If you put everything into one bag, a bit like can be done with Crestron and Control 4, even though you can separate them, if that one processor goes down, you potentially, depending on how the system's been put together, lose the system. Whereas with Savant, the way it was kind of brought to us and how we saw it was it is a control layer that sits on top. If Savant were to stop working for whatever reason, your heating still continues, your lighting still continues, the security still continues. You might not be able to turn the TV on, but hey, not that we've really had. It's not the end of the world. And then it's just the ease of adoption. We've installed systems into fairly elderly people's residences, and as you know, at the end of the install, it's always 9, 10 o'clock when you're wanting to get home, and you're the last person in the building. They're wanting to have dinner, and you're feeling a bit awkward. So it's normally okay. The system's up and running. Here's the app. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll run through the system, fresh minds. You go back the next day, and they're like, "Yep, don't worry, we know how it works," because they picked up the app, and it's just intuitive.
Do you think it's because it's got that Apple-esque feeling about it? People are very used to that.
It's that intuitiveness of the app. You just don't really need to be uh, teaching people how to use the system. It just works.
So from a baseline, it can be a very simplistic system to an end client, but you can delve a lot deeper and make it a bit more complex for super yachts, bigger projects, can't you?
Yeah. So like anything, I mean, we try and make sure that the front end to the client is as simple as it can be, and then we do all our clever magic in the back end. So one button press to an end user is multiple macros and triggers and various complex back end arrangements, but the end user doesn't see that, and they just see a very straightforward system. And like you said, Savant have got a nice offering from a very basic single room system, which is great for media rooms, cinemas, just a living room, all the way through to full blown mega mansions where it needs to be running on a the Mac Studio sort of machine, which has got plenty of grunt to run the whole shebang.
It's definitely something that I've missed from the brand personally, is not knowing that tier that it enters at. And it's only when we've been speaking to the guys at RGB Comms and at Savant
Yeah.
that they have had for a long while now. It's not something new,
No.
but like you say, processors built into sound bars. They've got smaller processors and remotes designed for media rooms that come in at a really good cost price, both to the client and to the integrator.
Like I think it was always seen as a premium product compared to Control 4, as in it was deemed in the industry you had to. It was a lot more expensive. I don't think it is, and I don't think it has been for a long time because of these smaller single room systems. Again, we're not a Control 4 dealer, so I don't know exactly how it works, but with Savant, typically, if you can get everything running on IP, you need one controller, one host. Whereas other systems, sometimes you need multiple controllers to extend Zigbee meshes and things like that. So we try and get everything running off IP, install Savant remote touchscreens as and when appropriate, door stations. It's just a reliable product. We very rarely have to do much support because Savant very rarely gives us any problems. There was potentially one period where a certain version of Savant caused problems, but they dealt with it very quickly within the US, brought the new release out, and we've not had any problems since.
Yeah, and that's music to integrators' ears, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's all we're kind of looking for, the least amount of downtime from a business to help support clients. And from a customer's perspective, it just looks better
yeah.
from a product and a platform perspective if it's not consistently causing issues to them and grief to them. What other features do you see within Savant that you personally love? I mean, you've got it in your own house. What would you say is the thing that is the go-to with Savant that kind of separates it from your perspective?
The one big thing which I don't think anyone else still has really is the user editable scenes
Yes.
ability to, as a user, very quickly just create macros and single touch actions to perform certain elements of the controller system. So we actually use it here in my house as an alarm clock.
Ah, okay.
Master bedroom one. I've got two kids, a 13-year-old boy and a 16-year-old daughter. And they've got no excuse for getting out of bed because within the Savant scene, I'm able to bring the lights up, uh, open the blinds, and turn the music on and increase that volume until they get out of bed. So, yeah,
You're a
it's
you're a savage father.
yeah,
But yeah, but that's the reason why we put these systems in place to make things quicker and easier to be able to kind of put out there, whether that's in your home, waking up the kids, or turn the TV and all that AV equipment on to make the cinema work. It should be a one button press, or it should be an easy functionality to get there. Okay, so what are the key considerations that new dealers should be asking themselves when they're looking at Savant as a platform?
do you want an easy life with few support calls, um, or do you want a headache? But no, in all seriousness, it's a very simple system to program. The user interface is generated for you. There's elements of custom user interface you can add into it if you need to, but very rarely do you need to do that. And I mean, we can get quite complex with it. We write our own drivers for Savant, but a lot of the time it's not necessary. You don't need to do that, and it's just a straightforward system with a good entry point from a price perspective, and just works. We get very few RMAs to deal with. So yeah, a bit of IT background, a bit of common sense. Being able to use a Mac is obviously important. So Savant runs purely on a Mac. So from a programming side of things, uh, you need to know your way around a Mac.
Yeah, that's one thing that I didn't know before I got into that world, and I must admit that I wish someone had told me that. So that is a great bit of tip for someone coming into this realm.
What we make sure we have is a 32 or 64 gig RAM with a 2 terabyte hard drive, because we run parallels as well. Because of course we've got Lutron, we've got other systems which need to run on Windows, and rather than having two machines, we run the MacBook Pro with parallels with Windows on the other side. You just want to make sure you got enough memory in there to run both operating systems without this machine slowing down.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You want good. You don't be going down a MacBook Air 13 inches screen real estate is quite useful when programming Savant. You want the larger screen to be able to get to the full, get the best out of the software.
Well, I think that is the best top tip you could find, and I really do think, Liam, that you've given food for thought for most integrators out there. I know there's a lot of movement on platforms across the years as you move through your integration companies. And one of the reasons why Savant are putting on this roadshow is specifically for people to get their hands on the equipment and kind of get an idea of it before they decide to just, go into the whole training episode and spending lots of time and money. So I think what I'll say is, first of all, thank you, Liam. Appreciate your time coming on here. For anyone out there, Liam is an absolute guru when it comes to Savant. I think a lot of people kind of lean on him for technical support. So I really appreciate your time, because you are definitely up there as one of the UK integrators that everyone kind of aspires and looks up to from a Savant perspective. Hopefully, we can get you at the roadshow as well to maybe do a bit of a talk on the product and why it's close to your heart. But we'll put all the links to below for the actual roadshow, and yeah, get in touch, and we'll get you on one of the dates. Thanks very much, Liam. Appreciate your time.
No worries. Cheers.
Yeah.